Hello, everyone. It's Ashley and Penelope from the CoEdition team. We are going to be bringing our gal Jamie Finkenthal in to talk to you about modeling today. She's coming on right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, how are you?
Great. I love is that a dress?
No, it's a top.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yes, from Standards and Practices.
Oh, love.
Yes.
It looks so good on you.
Thank you.
So Penelope says hi. She's so incredibly fluffy right now. She's getting groomed next month, but my groomer was like completely booked, and I was like, oh geez, she's gonna be such a fluff ball. So okay.
She looks so cute.
Yeah, she's a cutie pie. Okay. Anyway, so today, everyone, Jamie and I are here to talk to you about how to become a plus size model or influencer. Both Jamie and I are plus size models, and we are here to share the knowledge. We are here to share with you what we know and how you can possibly make this dream come true if it is a dream of yours.
Yes.
Yeah. Also would love to talk to you about how to break into the influencer world. We can definitely give you some tips on how to become a collaborator with CoEdition. So before we get into that, Jamie, I would love to have you just sort of give us an overview on how you became a plus size model.
Yeah, so I moved to Minneapolis about 4 years ago, and I was here for musical theater. There was a big musical theater scene here, so I was like, this is great. And I got an agent for on-camera work, and they started sending me on castings for like curvy modeling things. And then I just started doing that, and that was my full-time job. So I started with a home shopping network called Shop HQ. And then I just started doing print work. I think my first print job was for Maurice's, and I was scared out of my mind. And I just loved it, though. It's so much fun, and I met so many cool people. So just kept doing that. What about you?
That's awesome. Before we go to me, you're also a fit model, correct?
Yes. So I've been Target size 18 fit model for 4 years also.
Wow.
And I love that job. It's so cool. But also for different companies that are smaller than Target.
Yeah. That's incredible. So I think a lot of people don't really understand or realize what a fit model is. And I feel like fit modeling may not be as glamorous, but it's consistent and it brings in the cash. So
yes, and it's so important. It's really important for our clothes to be fitting very correct. You're pretty much like a live mannequin. You just you try clothes on, you tell them how they fit, if it's uncomfortable, if like you can see the armhole, if it needs more room in the midsection, things like that. But they have standard measurements, and then you kind of are in their standard measurements, and you just tell them how things fit.
Yeah, so they have like designated measurements for each size.
Right.
To be a fit model, you don't have to be tall. In fact, like I'm 5'10", and I've been told that I'm too tall to be a fit model because it's higher than the average woman in America.
Right. They say like 5'5" is like average. So yeah, they actually prefer a little bit shorter.
Yes. So because they want to fit clothes to fit the what America, generally is.
For sure.
So if you have those measurements, if like you have those to the T, you are one lucky gal.
Yes.
If there are people out there who want to get into plus size modeling and you may be on the shorter end, don't let that hinder you. You definitely 100% could still get into this business just in a different way, but that might then also open up opportunities for you to do other things besides fit modeling.
Yeah, when I did a commercial for Target because I was their fit model at the time. It was all like how they were starting a new bra line, and you know, and they wanted to show like we use fit models and like all shapes and sizes. So it led to something else too.
That
Yeah,
is awesome. I think we were on the same. We happened to be on the same shoot for that.
Yes.
I was already
exactly.
I was already living in New York, but like I had gone back to visit my family in Minnesota for a bit, and I just like happened to book it, and that was such a delight to see you there. It was so exciting.
I got so excited. I was like, Ashley.
So I also started my modeling career in Minnesota, which if you live in a smaller region, if you're not in Los Angeles or New York or Miami, do not let that hold you back. There are so many places around the US that have opportunities. Like Minneapolis, Minnesota has a lot of large corporations, Target, Best Buy, General Mills, like they have so much stuff. They have a home shopping network. So you'd be surprised, like if you were to look in your city or the surrounding metropolitan area, what you can find. So yeah, I started my modeling career in Minnesota as well. It was very similar to yours.
Yes.
Amy and I have a performance background. We actually both went to the same college for musical theater in Chicago. And after I was in Chicago for a while, I decided to move to Minnesota to be with my family for a bit, save up to move to New York. So when I got to Minnesota, I submitted to an agent for acting. And they signed me, and like on my way out, one of the agents was like, oh, can I submit you for some print work? And it was just kind of like a throwaway, like a last minute thought. And I was like, sure, because I wanted, this was back in 2014 or 2015. And plus size modeling and like the body positive movement was just kind of beginning. And when I had been in Chicago, like trying to get an agent for acting, like I felt like my body size hindered me. They always said to me, like, we don't know where to place you.
Yeah.
Because I have the body, I'm tall. I have the body of like what would be called in the acting world as a leading lady, but I was young. I couldn't play a 40, 50, 60-year-old. So I didn't really know where to put you. So when I got to Minnesota and I got booked with that agent, they started submitting me, and the very first modeling job I ever did was for the home shopping network that you worked for, Shop HQ.
Yes.
And I think this is maybe one of your first jobs there as well. I modeled a mattress.
Oh, I've done that. It's my favorite.
So let me tell you guys, okay, I'm going to put Penelope down so she can take a little nap ski. Let me tell you guys, modeling is not always glamorous. I kid you not when I tell you the very first job I had was modeling a mattress. Let me tell you what that looks like. They were trying to sell mattresses, and I was the model that laid on top of it, but it was deconstructed so you could see all the layers, and they wanted a curvy gal so that they could really see how it conformed to my body. And the guy that was selling it literally got on top of the mattress and was like walking around and jumping, and they're like, look, she's not even moving. That was my first job.
You're like, cool, I like this. And the springs are in your back, and you're like, this is very fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then shortly after that, I did my first official shoot. And then, like you, I was petrified. Did not know what I was doing. Like,
me neither.
You know, there are a lot of plus size models out there. Like, for instance, Hunter McGrady comes to my mind. She mother was a model, so she grew up in that industry. She's been modeling since she was like a very early teen. That is not my experience. Before I actually became a model, and still to this day, I get incredible anxiety in front of the camera.
Me too.
Because I'm like I still sometimes I'm self-conscious about my body. You know, sometimes we're put in outfits that may be completely out of your comfort zone. You're thrown in heels that are out of your comfort zone. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. Trust me, seriously. So yeah, so that is how I started. And then for me, I didn't do a lot of acting work in Minnesota. So modeling for me was kind of the replacement for my creative outlet. It was like, well, if I'm not acting right now, if I'm not performing right now, this is a close second. And but now I really do love it. And it is really part of my life. It's part of my identity. I'm proud of how far I've come. So that's how I started. And just to go a little bit deeper, I was in Minnesota. I modeled for about 2 years. I did random things. I did home shopping. I never did fit because I'm too tall. I'm 5'10". So I wasn't as lucky as you, because I know those are such great steady gigs. And that's how
they're really good jobs.
Models can do this full time. And then I moved to New York. I moved to New York to further pursue modeling and then to also pursue musical theater. Well, I definitely am one of those people that holds myself back. So the first 2 years, over 2 years that I was here, I did not submit to one agency. I just felt like I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I'm not there. Every time I'd shoot, I'd be like, I feel rusty. I don't like my photos. I was literally holding myself back. Then, February of 2020, almost a year ago, I was like, you know what? Something came over me and I was like, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to submit to this agency. And it was like, in my eyes, like one of the top agencies. I was like, it's, whatever, it's never going to happen. But I was at this point where I was like, whatever, I might as well just try. I was like bored or something. And I got a call an hour later and was signed. And it was the biggest.
An hour later.
And it was the biggest of my life. And I was like, wow, what if I should have done this 2 years ago? I just couldn't believe it. And honestly, for a while, I had the worst imposter syndrome because I felt like, why did they call me? They shouldn't have called me. Like, no way.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to do this, do not be me. Go out there and do it. So let's talk about the steps of what you can do before you submit to an agency, because you have to have some like a bit of a portfolio before you submit. So my biggest recommendation is to get yourself familiar in front of the camera.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
And just practicing in front of the mirror, if you do like 10-15 minutes a day, I think it really helps.
I need to start doing that, because I had heard that from another, like a model idol that I follow. And I was like, I need to start doing that.
Yeah.
But shooting, even if it's like your husband, your child. When I was a nanny, I used to have my 10-year-old nanny child take photos of me. And anyone, like your roommate, like your friend, like, I wish, Jamie, if we lived in the same spot, oh my gosh, we could create so much incredible
all the time.
So just shoot. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Get your iPhone. Just experiment. Try different things. And just get yourself comfortable in front of the camera, and then you'll start to build, and things will start to get better quality, and you'll start to feel at ease. Because even when I go on a shoot, probably like the first look or two that I do, I'm really stiff. Like, it takes a while to warm up.
I agree. And because you want to please the client, you have a million things going on. There's a fan, there's the wind, you're maybe schwitzing, you're like changing clothes a million times. So yeah, all before you shoot the first shot, you know?
Definitely. And oh my gosh, I did a shoot yesterday. It was so refreshing. She was like, you know what? Let's just like shoot for 5 minutes and you can just warm up and we won't even count any of these shots. And I was like, oh my,
I love her.
thank you so much. So helpful.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, if you are in a small market, go for it. All you need to do is Google modeling or even acting agencies in your region, get a list of them, and then the next thing you would need to do is sort of build a portfolio. And that is just a collection of photos that you can then use to send in to an agent. Usually an agency, when you submit them, it's all done online. It used to be old school where you'd have to send in a physical copy. Luckily, we don't have to do that. When you were doing because now, Jamie, you're signed with a New York agent.
I am, yeah. We're moving to the East Coast, so I was like, okay, let me get my foot in the door before I get there. So yeah, I just signed with Bicoastal MGMT about like 6 months ago. About that, yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
So when you submitted to them online, because this is my experience. So I'm with Dorothy Combs Models, which is exclusively for plus. They do not carry straight. They do not carry men. It's exclusively for plus size gals. When I submitted, they required a headshot, a 3/4, and a full body.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of agencies do that, and some want digitals and some just want regular portfolio shots. So when people ask me like, how should I get started? I say, you know, have maybe 3 different looks and then also have digitals, because some agencies ask for digitals, which is just jeans, heels, and like a tank or a solid tee. So it's kind of good to have both of those when starting out.
Yeah, I was gonna have you exactly explain what digitals are, because I feel like there's a lot of terms that are kind of like, wait, what? Like, even
what is that?
Yeah. So
yeah, and also like very little makeup. Like I think I had a little mascara on and a little concealer, and that was that.
Yes, very natural, because you know, if they want you for a beauty campaign or something, they want to see what you look like without any product on, without like your hair really, really curled or styled. And then whatever you wear, it's just very basic and form-fitting.
Right. Blank canvas.
Blank canvas. That's perfect way to describe. When I submitted to Dorothy Combs, I think I used one digital for my profile. Oh, that's another thing. They'll ask for a profile because I think they want to see like your face and your skin and your jawline. That was a digital, but I think the rest were like from styled like shoots that I had done. A test shoot. Do you want to explain to them what a test shoot is?
Did you do a test shoot for a different company, or did you do it just for your portfolio?
Just for my portfolio.
Yeah. So you just like did a test shoot with someone, and then you submitted to that agent. Is that what you did for that?
Yeah. So like agencies will be like, they call it testing. So you would hire a photographer. You would have to pay that photographer to take photos of you, and they're called test photos, which would then become part of your portfolio. Your portfolio should contain some test photos, and then it should eventually contain some photos of your work. So test photos are just kind of like photos that you, like, it could be anything. Like when I signed with her, I did a test shoot with a New York photographer, like inside a studio, like very New York, kind of dark, kind of like moody. And then I flew to Miami and I did a test shoot with a photographer there. And it's very commercial and very on the beach and smiley and sunny.
Those pictures were so good too. I was like, Ashley, oh.
I loved that shoot. The photographer, who is also a model, she was, that's another thing. You can really learn from photographers. I learned so much from her. She gave me so many incredible pointers. So That's another thing. When I started looking for people to shoot with, I would go and look at models on Instagram that I liked, like legitimate working models. And I would see who shot them. I'd be like, oh, I love this photo. Who shot them? And then I would go and I would follow that photographer. And then I would get to know their work. And then I would maybe see a photo of one of the models that I admire, be like, oh my gosh, I really love this photo. I want to create something like that. And then when you eventually decide on a photographer, you bring them your ideas, you bring them like sort of like, this is kind of what I'm going for. I want photos like this. But also your agent will definitely guide you in that. Because they will know what you're best for, whether you're going to be editorial or commercial or more like e-commerce. They're going to know. So I think they're going to guide you. And it also depends on the market that you're in.
Yeah. And a lot of agencies will give you a list of like because my agency isn't just plus, they do have photographers that they're like in the plus category or the curve category, that they're like, we suggest these photographers for you specifically.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool. And that's how I found a photographer that I used the last time I shot. And I was like, oh, and then I just loved her work. So Nikki Gomez.
Oh,
she's so great.
She's modeled for CoEdition.
Yes, she's amazing. Amazing spirit, amazing model, amazing modeling coach. She's great.
That to this day is my favorite campaign shoot we've ever done. It was Nikki Gomez and Maxi Green. I love
What a pair.
What a pair. I just love people who are down to earth and real. And it was a great shoot. Very like size inclusive. I really, really enjoyed that.
Me too.
So get out there and test, which just means get out there and shoot.
Yes.
Photographer. Some photographers who are maybe newer in the business will shoot you for free. But if you want high quality photos, I honestly really recommend spending money. Like getting your portfolio done and getting all that, it's not cheap. So I really, last year when I got signed, had to do a full refresh. And I was just like, oh my gosh, because first of all, I wasn't expecting to get signed. And then within the first month, I had one photo shoot, trip to Miami booked, another photo shoot. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know, it was so much. So just know that it's going to cost you some cash.
Yeah, it's definitely an investment, but a well worth investment.
Yes, definitely, 100%. Okay, I'm trying to think what the next thing would be. Oh, so I would say use your social platforms as marketing. Use your Instagram or your Facebook as your online portfolio. Take a selfie, show everyone how amazing your skin is or how beautiful your eyes are, it's not, I think that, Instagram has really changed the idea that taking photos of yourself is vain. I just feel like that's not the way it is anymore. People just do that. And I think that it's great and we should celebrate ourselves. So use those tools
for sure
to build and then build your following.
And also add all those hashtags, and some of the agencies for scouting, you can definitely add some of their hashtags, and that's a great way to be kind of found also.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then once things once you start to get a nice Instagram portfolio going, then you can start and become what they call an Instagram model. You can start doing campaigns via Instagram and get paid for that. You can come work for CoEdition.
Yes.
My biggest tip, I will say, because I'm so sorry, my texts keep going off. Everyone that reaches out to CoEdition to collaborate with us is vetted through me. And the number one thing that I first check when someone reaches out to collaborate with us is, are they following us on Instagram? Because if someone reaches out and they're like, you know, they send this email and they're like, I love your stuff, you're so great, but then they're
not following.
like, wait a second.
Do you?
Before you reach out to any brand, make sure you're following them. You want to make sure that you are being authentic and that it's not like a mass request to get sponsorships.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah.
And I also think that even if you have a smaller following, that does not mean that you will not get collaborations. I think what matters the most is the quality of your content and your engagement. So
some of the people that I follow that are like my favorite people to follow don't have huge following, but I think they're so creative and like their content is so important that I'm like, I watch their stories every day and their posts, you know, and I'm really engaged in that. So yeah, it really doesn't matter the following.
Yeah. 100%. Because if someone has, say, 5,000 followers and their engagement is 8% versus someone who has 50,000 followers and their engagement is 0.4%, we're going to want to work with the person who has a lower following. So how do you get good engagement? You have quality posts, you engage with your followers, you are active on a regular basis, you're active on stories. That's a whole other ball game that we can go down someday on how to boost your social media presence. But if you are really wanting to become a model, I think that when you do submit to agencies, if you have like already a community, a following, a beautiful portfolio created on Instagram, they're going to see that. So yesterday when I did my shoot, the CEO of the company brought her dog in the morning, and it was a cockapoo, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a toy poodle. And she's like, oh yeah, I saw it on your Instagram. And I was like, oh, you've seen my Instagram? I totally look at that.
And a lot of agencies have your Instagram connected to your on their website.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients will go there and look at your Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. So our experiences are kind of similar, that we just sort of fell into it. But I know I have friends and I know fellow influencers that have tried to bust into this career for a very long time. My biggest advice is to just not get down on yourself. Don't get discouraged, because it just takes one person to see something in you and to be like, I love them. They're 100% marketable. And if you look at yourself and you're like, you think, I could never be a runway model. Honey, there are so many different kinds of models. You don't have to be a runway model. You could be in that beautiful catalog. You could be on the front page of that website. You know, there's so many things that you could do. Yeah. So if it's something that you're interested in, just keep going. And I also think that the industry is changing. I think that they're accepting a lot of different body types, not, you know, your standard size 12 or 14 hourglass plus body.
Yeah, which used to that was like the only thing.
That was it.
As far as curvy models go. Yeah. But now it's all shapes and sizes. So, yeah, I mean, anyone genuinely can be a plus model, a curvy model.
Yeah. And heights and these, I think that it's come a long way. And of course, like, if you guys ever have additional questions, you can always reach out to us. Yeah. I think in the description, I'll probably post our personal channels, just so if they want to reach out to us personally instead of the CoEdition page. But, you know, CoEdition, we hire we do about 2 campaigns a year, and we're always looking for new people. So, oh, another thing I was going to say, a lot of people will sometimes reach out to me on social and talk about maybe a photo that they've seen on Instagram, and they'll say, oh, that model. But let me clear something up for all of you. The photos that we post, most of the photos that we post on our Instagram and our Facebook, those are just customers or influencers that have purchased our clothing and they look bomb. You can definitely tell between like a customer photo and one of our campaign photos. And so, and you could 100% do that. They're like, well, how do I do that? I'm like, well, go buy something on our site and take a photo. And then
tag us. Yes.
And then, you know, like that is our favorite thing in finding customer images, especially when they're like, I got so many compliments. I felt so beautiful. Like, I love this dress.
That's also such a great way to get seen just in general. Like, the more that you're tagging different companies that you're wearing and getting seen that way, that's great. You know, that's such good publicity for you.
Definitely. It might seem tedious and daunting, but if you post a photo, tag every single brand you're wearing, because the likelihood of them stumbling across it and seeing you is high, you know? Yeah, definitely. But let's recap before we go through the comments. So if you want to become a model, shoot. Do tons of test shooting. Doesn't have to be with a photographer, like a professional photographer right away. Shoot with your mom. Oh my God, I shot with my mom so much over the summer. Photos.
Yes.
And then build your portfolio. Start building and keep building. Start getting used to shooting in different types of clothing. Like, there was a point where I shot a lot of swim. So used to that I think that when I wore clothing, I felt kind of awkward. Like, I didn't know how to move. You know, when you're a model, it's not about you. It's about the clothes.
For sure.
You know, a lot of people think, again, that it's super glamorous, but you are hired to sell clothing.
Yeah, it's definitely hard work.
Oh God.
And a long days. Yeah.
I'm sore from yesterday. I had a full day shoot yesterday. I'm sore.
I have that too. And like I said before, like, I will be schwitzing at times from changing so much, and then like going really quickly to the next thing, and then fixing everyone and adjusting everything. Like, okay.
Absolutely. Like, I've done shoots where they're like, oh, it's really cold in here. Do you need the heater? And I'm like, like, give me all the air.
I never need the heater. Let's make that clear.
Because I think maybe like if models were thinner, maybe they'd get more like easily cold. But I'm like, no, I don't need the heater. I prefer an all year air conditioning.
I'm with you.
But yeah, I guess we can kind of touch base on that quickly about like the other side of modeling, like where it is super hard. It can be taxing on your body when you're wearing shoes that you're not used to wearing. Yesterday, my shoot was with one other model who was a straight size model. And we were sharing the same shoes. And I'm like, okay, she was a size 8, I was a size 10, and we were sharing the same shoes. And I'm like, my foot looks like a brick compared to her foot. Like, it was so much, hers was so much smaller, but I was just like having to like shove it in there and go with the flow. And that's kind of what you have to do. So, okay, I will get to another thing. I need to get thoughts like aligned here. So yeah, if you were to ask me like, what's the most glamorous shoot you've ever done?
What's the most glamorous shoot you've ever done?
I don't know. I can't honestly think of like a glamorous shoot. What about you?
I can think of fun shoots, but not glamorous. I don't think I've ever felt, I mean, Clothes Mentor, I did a commercial for them, and we were on a boat. And so that was a little glamorous, but it was on a boat on a lake in Minnesota, so it wasn't too glamorous. But it was a nice lake and it was a nice boat. But you know, that would be the most glamorous.
I did some adventurous shoots in Minnesota too.
Yeah.
In like March or April, it was April, we were on paddle boards in a lake.
I love that.
And it was, I mean, April in Minnesota, you can still have blizzards. It was rigid.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's definitely.
My boyfriend and I just did a shoot where we were ice fishing on a frozen lake. This was like 2 weeks ago. He's from Atlanta, so he was like, ice fishing, what's that?
Oh my.
And I was like, are we gonna die on this frozen lake?
Oh, that is hilarious. That's so fun that you got to model with your boyfriend. What a cool experience.
It was awesome. Yeah, it's really fun.
And you know, so I feel like that probably might happen more often in smaller markets than bigger markets. So if you are in a smaller market, don't let that deter you from going out there and trying this.
Or like families. I know a lot of families will get with an agency. Like I have a friend that we went to school with, and she has twins, and they signed with a pretty big agent in Chicago, like the whole family.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, and they do a lot of shoots together.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I also think that maybe a smaller market, it might be easier to break into it, you know, than if you were just like, I'm going to become a model. I'm moving to New York next week, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, I think you should just go for it. I keep saying that, but
100%.
Now I forgot what I was going to say. Holy buckets.
Yeah, but definitely you can find good agencies in smaller markets. That's like very doable that do have good clients and good and solid agencies. But I do think there is one thing with smaller markets: make sure that you're never paying the agent. The agent's always paying you. I think that's really important to watch out for in a smaller market, because there are some really good, solid agents, but there can be ones that are like, oh, we're going to charge you $3,000 to take pictures with us. And those are the ones you want to steer away from.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So glad you said that, because I feel like there probably are agencies out there trying to scam people. And if someone asks you for money up front, do not do it.
I think the only time you ever should give money in a smaller market is sometimes they'll ask you for like $100 to be on the website. And that does happen on smaller markets, but I think that's like the only thing that you would pay for.
That, I think that's pretty normal, because they, you know, they have to pay money to keep you up on the website, keep all the photos updated. Even my agency, which is like a bigger, more national agency, I do have to pay like a small fee to be on the website, but they've never asked me to write them a check. It comes out of what I earn. So I have never had to spend like money that I already have, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And then another thing, if we're on the topic of money, so I guess like, what is an agent? If someone doesn't know what an agent is.
Yeah, they represent you to get you jobs.
And then they take the way that they make their money is they get a percentage of your job. The largest percentage I've ever had taken was 20%.
Correct. Yeah.
And
it can range from 10 to 20, depending on if it's like, you know, if we're going with film or print or, you know, any of that.
Yeah. So if you come across someone that's wanting to charge you 30, 40, 50%, run far away.
Run as fast as your legs can take you.
Yes. You do not want to be represented by that person. They are dishonest, and you can find someone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what an agent is. They're not going, like, the most awesome bookings are like when you don't even have to go to a go-see, which is, go-see is the term, the modeling term for audition. The best jobs are when they're like, okay, this client is interested in you. Are you free these days? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, yes, great. They're going to book you.
It's straight booking.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Yeah. And then there are other ways where they'll be like, hey, there's a casting, there's a go see, they want to see you. And that's where an agent does come in really handy. They can get you into those castings. Whereas if you are unrepresented, and say maybe, I don't even know, where do clients post, you know, castings nowadays? Wasn't there like this weird model website at one point in time?
There is, I mean, Casting Network, I know some of them do, or like I know Playbill has some stuff like that, but, or
yeah.
Backstage.
We have Catherine. Oh, Catherine Roll, she's a fellow Dorothy Combs gal. She says casting equals cattle call for sure.
Yes.
Model mayhem. Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
A little sketchy. I think you have to like pay to be on the site. I would avoid it.
Yeah.
Like Instagram has overtaken that. You don't need that. But yeah, so if you don't have an agent and you go to a casting, it is like a cattle call. There's just tons of people waiting in line. You don't know what's up or down. You know, it's just like, when am I going to get seen? If you have an agent, you're like, okay, your appointment's at 9 a.m. You go, you get seen right away, you leave. So that is a nice part about having an agent.
Yes.
Catherine says, so sketch. So Catherine, she's in the comments right now. She is so beautiful. Her and I like are both blondes, beautiful. She's preggers with a baby girl right now.
Oh.
Before we go through the comments, is there anything that, and maybe the comments will say if we missed something, but is there anything that we missed that you want to touch base on?
I think, you know, if you are looking in a larger market, I think really do your research on the agencies. And it's not just that they like you, but if it's a fit both ways. Because definitely, I think that's really important, that you feel at home with the agency and that they feel the same way. And that they really want you. You don't want to be with an agent that you feel like you're just a number, you know?
Yes, I so agree with that. I 100% agree with that. Another way to sort of to get to know agencies is to find them on their social channels, find the models that are with them, follow them, see if they're working.
And see what clients they have. That was a big thing for me when I signed, was I was like, okay, who are their clients? Would that be a client that would be interested in me? You know?
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't really ever think about doing that, but that's really smart.
Yeah, because I was like, if they don't have clients that aren't going to want me, like, then, you know, what's the point? Like, I just won't get work, you know? But not that they can't keep getting more clients, but where they were at that point, I wanted to make sure.
Yeah. And also like if there is a dream agency that you want to be signed with, start networking and becoming friends with the people that are in their agency, because they could, you know, if you guys start a communication, they could give you advice. Like after Dorothy Combs like offered me the contract, I felt like, I was like, man, this is so fast. Like, why am I second guessing this? And I had reached out to a couple models that were with her already. And I'm like, what do you think? And they were like, go for it. You know, being able to have someone that I can go to that I trust and that I've known Instagram wise and have been following and communicated with for a couple of years, that was really, that really eased my mind. So utilize the community that you have.
Honestly, if someone asks me if they are trying to get into modeling, I almost always answer people, because I'm like, I was there in their spot, and someone who's above me, like, you know, same thing, you know? So I always try to answer people. And I feel like most people in the community do answer you if you have a question about their agency or like, you know, a client they work with or something. Not too personal, but you know.
I agree. And you know what? The people that have helped me along the way, that have, you know, rooted for me and given me tips, I still remember every single one of them. Like sometimes it can be the most unsuspecting people. Like my very first shoot I ever did after the mattress situation, It was the makeup artist that really coached me through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think of her, like, I'm just like, oh my God, it was such a blessing that I had that, you know? So there are people out there, like, my DMs are always open. I'm sure Jamie's DMs are always open.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, ask us, you know, we'll do the best of our ability, like, to answer your questions. So yeah.
Yes.
It's exciting. Okay. I'm going to go. Oh, by the way, everyone, this is our first time doing this segment on the plus side on Facebook. We have been doing this on Instagram the last 2 weeks, but we're going to be solely doing it on Facebook and then reposting it on Instagram. So funny, quick story. When Jamie and I were preparing for this, we had to practice and figure this out like 5 times.
Yeah.
To make sure we have it. You know,
it's a little embarrassing, but
yeah, for millennials, it's okay. All right, so okay, someone made a little bit of a rude comment about Penelope, but she loves laying in my arms. That's where she wants to be all of the time. So, and she's CoEdition's mascot. How did you not know that?
Yeah, come on now.
Don't be going picking on the dog. Let's see here. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? Everyone is saying interested. I'm not sure what that means. Sounds like fun. I'm interested. What were we talking about? Becoming an influencer for us, maybe? I'd love to do this. What agency would you recommend? We live in Los Angeles. Now, that is a market that I know nothing about. I've never even been to Los Angeles. I know that your agency is there.
By Coastal, we have an agency in New York and then in LA. But your agency does represent, don't you guys represent models?
Yeah. So my agency, she is based in Miami, but she books Miami, New York, and Los Angeles.
Right.
So yeah, Dorothy Combs is amazing. Got anything close to Atlanta? Honestly, like, I don't really know. Google.
There are, Vaughn, I think you're on there. Can you name agencies in Atlanta in the comments? He's from Atlanta, and he was actually just submitting to some. So yeah. But there's a bunch of agencies in the Atlanta market. And you could just Google like modeling agencies and then see the people that are on their roster and kind of, you know.
Yeah. Did you know?
See if it looks legit.
Yeah. If you go to an agency website, you can see every single person that's with them. And if you go on there and you see everyone's photos and they're a little bit
maybe outdated.
Yeah. Outdated.
Yeah.
Quality, then you might want to think, I don't know. It's totally up to you, but use your best judgment. Love Nikki Gomez. Catherine said that she's such a gem.
Yes, she is the sweetest.
Catherine says it takes money to make money. Never.
And invest in yourself because that's so important.
Definitely. She said never quit your job to be a model. You'll need the money for testing and keeping up your
portfolio,
your look. That's
your look. And that's another thing. If you change your look, you know, you have to get new pictures for your portfolio. So it can definitely be.
Definitely. If you change sizes, I got to get this hair, you know, fixed every 3 months.
But I must say it looks good.
So yeah, Catherine, that is a really good point, saying do not quit your day job, basically. I mean, definitely there are models that have been able to do it that have completely just flourished, like Maxi Green. But as of right now, like, I still work full time with CoEdition. And I'm still able to model. Obviously, we're a startup, we're completely super flexible. It would probably be a bit harder if I worked for, you know, more of like a bigger corporate job. So you just kind of have to pick and choose what matters to you.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's see. This is amazing. I'm obsessed. Goals, says Bethany. Honestly, like, I know that people are probably going to watch this after we are done being live. If you have additional questions, reach out. You can comment here. If you comment on this video, I will see all of them. I will answer you. I will take the time to answer you. Don't you worry. So literally ask us anything. CoEdition should do some mommy and me outfits for curvy moms with littles.
I love that.
I think we actually just recently got a brand called the Striped Sheep. It's all long sleeve t-shirts that are striped, super cute, really cute and casual, cozy. And I think they make mommy, like obviously make them for mommies or ladies. And then they make them for kids so you can match.
So cute.
Yes. So check out the Striped Sheep on our site. They're adorable. Katie Storino wore one and put her dog in one, which is, I would totally do that to put Penelope. She is the most interesting dog. She loves being dressed up. Yeah, Catherine again said, invest in your craft. Aside from test shoots, frequent hair cuts and colors, test shoots every 6 months, which I need to update mine. Oh no, I just unscrolled your message. But, oh, here we go. Manicures, pedicures, facials, gym membership, trainer, runway walking classes, and never forget to ask for help if needed. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, she started in 2004.
Wow.
Oh, you were like a baby. That's awesome. Wow, you've been modeling for so long.
How long have you been modeling for, Ashley?
So I started in 2015, so like a little over 5 years. But again, when I came to New York, I really kind of took like a hiatus for 2 years. So, Catherine said she was 16. Oh, that's right. We're the same age. Catherine, oh my gosh, we should have like pulled you in to be in on this conversation. You are so helpful. Catherine recommended in LA Natural Models and Willem. Those are two great agencies. They're very well known. They have some beautiful, very just gorgeous models. Would you recommend doing this while working full time? Again, you totally can. Start out as a side thing, you know, like, and even if you're booked, let me tell you, even if you are booked with an agent, does not mean that you're going to be working all the time. The model that I was with on my shoot yesterday, she told me that she had been with her current agent for 2 years and that she had only booked 8 jobs with them. I was like, what? Like, you are stunning. Like, she was like a work of art. Beautiful. And I was like, you should be working more. Like, is what? I was just shocked. I was like, you need to get with another agency. Like, they're not doing enough for you. You have to remember that these agents, they work for you. That's what that is. Like, they work for you. They find you the job so that they can get paid. But unless they find you the job, they're not getting paid.
Yeah.
So even if you start and you're like, okay, I'm going to pursue this, you know, it's not going to be a full-time thing right away. Unless you're like Jamie and you're a fit model and you are on TV all the time and doing amazing, great things.
I worked for CoEdition too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Someone says, what's the best way to practice posing?
I do it in the mirror personally and just like change my pose, just constantly switching. And I think posing is different for different clients, like depending on if it's e-com or if it's more editorial or if I do book something, I kind of look at their aesthetic and then kind of try to follow that. I know I had one client that was so like very robotic, and it was like they wanted you exactly in like 4 positions.
I think I've shot with that client.
And I think it was like, And that for me was really hard. Maybe. Yeah, it was just so hard.
Because I think I know who you're talking about. Also, what I've learned, like, as I've gotten better at modeling, for me, like, it's not about like stagnant pose. Like, okay, you pose and they take a photo, and then you pose and then they take a photo, and you pose and take. It's not that. It's constant movement, which
yeah,
took me a long time to master. And also it's like you have to find a tempo that works for the camera person or the photographer, and you know, you're stepping a lot. It's a lot of it's in motion. A lot of it is like playing with the garments. I shot a ton of dresses yesterday, and it was like about showing the movement of the dress and how the fabric. So it was a lot less posy, a lot more fluid movement. I will say, if you are going to pose, stay away from the two hands on the hips. I have heard that so many times. I don't know if you've heard that. Like, if you're doing a series of photos, like maybe one stand really, like, you know, strong and bold, hands on the hips is good. But if you're just kind of standing there and everything is hands on the hips, you gotta drop your hands, honey.
Yeah.
All that. Maybe it would be fun to do like maybe like a live, and we can do some movement or something.
Yeah. I also think that, like, thinking of the backstory, like, depending on what client it is, like, I kind of, as an actor before, like, I kind of be like, what girl is this? Like, you know, if it's an athletic company, you know, a different girl than, you know, a dress company, you know, kind of feel the mood of the clothes.
Definitely. I have learned, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more confident, and I've learned how to speak up for myself, because before, when I was still really green to this, I would just come in and be really nervous and not ask questions. But I've learned to ask questions. I say, okay, what are you guys looking for? Are you looking for something that's fun and smiley, more commercial, or something more stoic and just sort of straightforward? Like, I ask the questions because I want to be sure that I'm going to give them what they want, and that, you know, I
not waste anyone's time either.
Exactly.
You know?
That I do a good job, because a lot of times these clients will then go back to your agent and give them feedback, and you want that to be good feedback. So I think communication is really important. Someone said, do you recommend starting a new Instagram and focus on tagging brands and using more professional pics?
I think keeping, like, if you already have an Instagram and it's family and friends and all that, I think it's fine if you want to start pursuing being an influencer more or modeling more, to just start doing more of that, you know, because you already have a little bit of a following, and that's kind of the people who are following you are probably your support system. So it's going to be positive. So I think if you don't mind, then I would say just do it on there.
Yeah,
really.
I totally agree, because in the beginning, your biggest supporters are going to be your friends and your family.
Yeah.
And exactly, as long as you don't mind marketing it, totally keep it. Like, I know that there are some of those influencers that have these beautifully curated pages that have a theme, and all of their photos are very similar and styled. Mine is not like that. Mine is like, mine's, you know, modeling, Penelope, my family, God knows what. And so that's okay. That's totally okay. You definitely don't have to start a whole new Instagram.
And I think a lot of times when clients do look at your Instagram, they want to see you as a person, like, not just you as the model. They want to see, who am I getting, you know?
Definitely. Definitely. Someone says, how do agencies feel about previous plastic surgery? Think tummy tuck, but still curvy. I don't think they care, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know of a gal in my agency. She works all the time. She has had a tummy tuck. She's had a boob job. She's had her lips done. I mean, I don't think you have to worry about that. You'll find the path that will be okay with it. Also, like, you know, if you go to an agency Like, did you go to Bi-Coastal and meet them in person?
Because of COVID and all that, we had a meeting, a Zoom meeting. So I've never actually met them in person.
That makes total sense. What
Yeah.
agency is in Minneapolis?
Yes. We definitely went in person.
Yeah, I didn't go in person for Dorothy because she was in Miami. I was in New York. I ended up meeting them when I went to Miami for my shoot, but in Minneapolis, I met all of them. And did any of them ask you to like strip down to your like underwear and bra?
No.
Me either, but I don't
Yeah.
know if that's common anymore. So I don't think like, you know, even if you have a scar or something, I don't think you have to worry about it. Like you go into an agency and they ask you to do something like take your clothes off, and you're uncomfortable with it, like definitely set that boundary. But I think that having a plastic surgery should not hinder you.
No, not at all.
Someone says, I've always wanted, the same gal said, I've always wanted to do this, but I'm 5'4". Is there a height requirement in the industry? I don't think anymore.
I don't either. And there's different things, like a more commercial, I feel like you can definitely get away with being shorter. But yeah, it's where are you going to be? Like, where are you going to be placed? You know?
Right.
There are different agencies who do more commercial stuff. Or I have a friend who works all the time. She's like a size 6, but she's very tiny, but she does a lot of print stuff. She's probably 5'4". And she works constantly. Yeah. So
I think there is, I'm not going to say her name, but there's a plus model here in New York, and I believe she's 5'4" as well, and she's like maybe 18, 20. She just got signed with I think she was with, I don't know who she was with before, but I think she just got signed with Natural Models in LA, and this year, her career has blown up. So fun to see that, because it's, her body type is not the norm, you know, for the plus size model, but I think that's why people like it. You know, I think that's why Maxi Green blew up, because she didn't have the quintessential hourglass figure. More of like your average gal next door, you know, like she really represented size 18s, and we hadn't really seen that before her. And so I think agencies, clients are beginning to love the diversity. So go for it. Do not let that hold you back. Catherine said about like moving, fluidity, like posing. If you can class or a dance class, super helpful in learning moves to make you appear taller too. Oh, yeah, I should start yoga. I'm so not. You can do those splits. That's amazing.
We took yoga in college. Did you guys have to take yoga?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, well, I always said yoga's not for girls who are top heavy, because you go like this and all that, and it's like, it gets in the way. Wasn't my thing.
My boobs don't get in the way. It's my stomach that gets in the way. I'm like, oh, I can't move.
That too. So I had all kinds of difficulties.
Oh man. Yeah, but I do need to start yoga, because like, man. Another person said, what about moms with stretch marks? What is the likelihood that will be booked with body blemish? What is the likelihood that we will be booked with body blemishes like that? It doesn't matter.
I booked Target, and they loved that I had the stretch marks. They were like, yes, we love that. We're not editing any of that out. Like, a lot of companies are doing that now. And I'm like, yes, I love that personally. And I think more companies are doing that.
Yeah, I think now, like a lot of the shoots I do, it's very minimal editing. I think they're getting away from that really airbrushed look. And so if you have stretch marks, from a mom, from growing, from gaining weight, whatever it is, you have scars, don't let that hinder you either. Because think about like, okay, there's a whole, like all the plus models, I'm sure they have stretch marks.
I have tiger, scratches here, and I love them.
Hold you back. And last year, like right before I signed with my agency, I burned my stomach with a curling iron. so stupid. And I had this awful burn mark right next to my belly button. And I remember I was getting ready for a lingerie shoot, and I sent a few pictures of clothing options to my agent. I was like, oh my God, do not mind this burn. Like, I'm going to eventually get it lasered. I'm so like, it's terrible right now, but I'm going to fix it. And she's like, don't worry. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, if a client is bothered by it, they can touch it up.
Yeah.
Don't even let that.
It's no biggie.
If you're a fit model, you are always in bra and panties in front of the client and agent for measurements. Oh, that's what Catherine said. But plastic surgery can be frowned upon in fit modeling because the body is less natural feeling. Fillers are great. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fit model, so I don't really know. Would you say as a fit model, Jamie, you're in like bra and underwear a lot?
You know, they measure me like once a month typically, and usually they're okay. At least with Target, they're typically okay with me being in tight clothes, and they'll measure me, and that's good. But some clients, yes, you are in bra and underwear. And if you do bra and like lingerie fit modeling, then they usually you get to charge them more. So you make more cash money.
Yeah.
I love doing, you know, the bra and underwear. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. Lingerie and swimwear are the big bucks, you guys.
Yeah. And usually it's just you and one other person in the room, or like 2 or 3. So it's not, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not modest myself, but if you are, then maybe.
I think once you've done this for so long, you just kind of stop caring, you know. And usually it's all women in the room, and if there are men, they're usually gay. Like, I've never come across a straight man at a shoot. So I don't know, it doesn't really bother me anymore. It's like, well, they know what my body looks like, you know what I mean?
Right. Here I am.
For sure. Okay, let me see what else there is. What are your names on Instagram so I can follow? Mine is, it's Ashley Braxton, and yours is?
Jamie_Finkenthal, FINKENTHAL. It's a mouthful.
I will put it in the description below so you guys can reach out if you guys have additional questions. Another person asked, you guys probably already said this, but what are the first steps you should take to get into the plus model industry? Okay, let's recap, because I think this is the last question, and then we can call it a night. So if you want to get into the plus industry, know that if I can, you can. And then just take a lot of photos. They don't have to be professional at first. Have family, friends, your kids take photos, try different outfits, try different clothes. You know, I mean, even selfies can help. Self-timer, you could do self-timer photos, and then start to collect that in some place. It doesn't have to be on Instagram if you don't want it to be public. It can be in a folder on your computer where no one will ever discover it, you know. And then once you start, like, you really have to first, like, see if you like being in front of the camera. For a long time, I was like, I don't really like this. And if you're like, okay, I love it, I want to pursue this, then I would say start looking for photographers that you like to do test shoots. Photographers literally can range, like in New York, I've paid $100, I've paid $1,200. So, and both of them were great, you know, they were just different. So, so get some photos taken, do your research, start following models that you like and that, you know, you connect with. Start following agencies, just stuff like that. Just get yourself in the community. You know, watch things like this. Like, there are a lot of other plus models on Instagram, on Facebook, that talk about these kind of things, you know, and there's podcasts out there, and there's a whole wealth of information on social platforms. And I know sometimes people don't like social, or they, you know, shy away from it, but I feel like if you use it for the right thing, you can really learn a lot. And then just making friends in that community, finding people that you feel comfortable with talking to. And, you know, that can start with, you know, if you're shy, like I was in the beginning, like that can just, I started by following someone that I admired, and then I would like their stuff, and then I would start commenting on their stuff. And then, you know, someone does that, especially if you're a woman, if a woman consistently comments on my stuff, I definitely take note of that. Like, that is so sweet. Like, when I get comments from females, they mean so much more to me than when I get comments from men. And it really, like, it starts to create this sisterhood. And then eventually, you know, when you have interacted with them for so long, you can start commenting on their stories, and then, you know, reach out to them. That's kind of like what happened, I think, with me with Maxi Green. And like, people really do want to help. Like you said, Jamie, they really want to help. So get your photos taken, get more confident in different clothing, move, shoot, get yourself familiar with the community, get yourself familiar with your region, where you are, research agencies, and then just go for it.
Yeah. And once you submit, if you don't hear back and no one wants to sign with you right away, don't stop. Like, you can keep submitting every 6 months, and eventually they're going to bite, you know, because that's happened to a lot of my friends, where the first time they submitted, nothing. And then the second or the third time they ended up signing with someone. It's just what the agency needs at that time, you know?
Oh, for sure. It could be absolutely nothing about you. It could be 100% not personal, but they might have, I might submit to something and they might have a size 16, 18 blonde that's 5'10". They don't need two.
Right.
You know, but then 6 months down the road, that blonde, her contract is up and she moves on, and then they're on the market for a new blonde.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So don't
give up is the point.
Don't take it personal. Just keep trying. Also, you'd be surprised, like, if you submit to agencies, they might not get back to you right away. Like, Dorothy Combs got back to me within like an hour, but I had submitted to a couple other agencies that day, and I didn't hear from any of them at first. And I kind of like chuckled to myself, because Dorothy was like my number one. And I was like, Dorothy wants me, but these don't want me. Like, that's okay. And then I ended up hearing from them like a month and a half down the road. So you just never know.
Yeah.
You just never know.
For sure. Mine took like 3 weeks for them to get back to me.
Yeah.
So I think it ranges, really.
Yeah. And then how you submit to an agency, you just go to their website, and they should have a little tab that says submit, and you just put all your stuff in. And yeah, that's how you do it. Catherine says, it took me a decade to sign with Dorothy. I didn't even know I didn't know who she was a decade ago. That's non-modelly I was. That's how I didn't even know there was this world. I was set for Broadway. That was my path.
Same here.
So anyway, I think we kind of covered it. Yeah?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. And then just to recap on how to become an influencer, start building your Instagram, Facebook page, get a lot of great high quality content out there to start building your following. And then if you do have a brand that you want to work with, say you want to work with CoEdition, be sure that you're actually following them before you reach out. Like, that's the number one thing. I'll be like, she's not even following us. Like, I can't accept it. So just make sure you're following whoever you reach out to, because yeah, that's my biggest tip. And I think other than that, I feel like we covered a lot. Again, I will put Jamie and my Instagram in the description below. If you guys want to reach out to us in the DMs, you are more than welcome to. Otherwise, you can continue to comment on this thread, on this video, and I see every single content because I'm the social manager, so I see all of your comments, so I will be sure to respond to each and every one of you, because we want to create a community of supportive women. And yeah, I just really I really love it.
Yes.
It feels good to be surrounded by like women that are like you and you relate with and that are kind, and I want to give back. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, we're gonna wrap it up. Next week we will be back. Jamie will not be here. We have a different guest next week, but then Jamie and I have a really good episode coming up in February. It has something to do with Valentine's Day, so we will be sure to let you all know when that is going up. But until next time, everyone, be well, dress well. Thank you for joining us. Jamie, it was so beautiful and love your face as always.
Same to you. This was so fun.
Stay warm in Minnesota, girl.
Thanks. Stay warm in New York.
I will. Okay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you. Bye.
Bye.